Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Dandy Andy, and this is part 2 of the series. This time I'm playing Loam Pox. If you missed the first episode, basically where this came from was Andy came to me with a concept of what if we put Moonshadow into Loam Pox and give it an aggressive slant. But we identified basically immediately that having one giant creature in a deck that's trying to cast Smallpox is not good deck building. So last week on the channel, I played Aggro Golgari. You could go check that out. And this time, I'm playing Loam Pox. We ended up splitting the concepts into their component parts as two different decks. And the things we're really exploring in Loam Pox here, Loam Pox has been a channel staple on this channel for years. It top 8 at Eternal Weekend last year, giving it mainstream validity. The cards we're trying now, WITHERBLOOM Charm, a card that Andy is very into right now, and I'm with it. This is another sacrifice outlet for Eumidian Hatchery. It's card draw in a deck that lacks traditional card draw. In Life from the Loam is a lot of card advantage, but that's not draw if you need a spell. And it's just a solid removal spell against most legacy things. High concentration of that and WITHERBLOOM command. We got a lot of interaction at 2 mana, and a big lean into Malevolent Rumble. Only 3 copies of Loam in the namesake deck. That's supplemented by the 4 copies of Malevolent Rumble, which can mill over a Loam. So you get a lot more looks at your 3 copies rather than having 4 copies that you have to draw one of naturally. And the Rumble also feeds Hogak, who is our primary win condition here. Historically, Loam Pox has won with, they have a couple big O's in the deck, like Barrow-Goyf to supplement the Bowmasters, which are great into Smallpox, the Urza Saga, which is great with Life from the Loam. Hogak just turns the corner really fast, hits like a truck, hard to deal with. And it's great with Malevolent Rumble, which is one of the cards we're exploring here. In the lands package, we've got a Bossing Say, standard staple that I have not played in Legacy before. This is another way to turn your Life from the Loam into actual threats later on in the game. There's other tricks you could do, like Earthbend onto a Wasteland and Wasteland them, and then you get your Wasteland back. I suspect if we have any long grindy games, Bossing Say will come up in a variety of ways. You could animate your Urza Saga, and then it'll run its course and then come back into play when you sacrifice it. Very cool stuff. There it is, traditional Loam Pox with a handful of new cards in here. Let's do it. The weekend of July 11th, I'll be headed to Baltimore for the DMV Legacy League's Triple Threat Weekend. CubeCon DMV is the heart of the event, featuring 3 drafts of elite curated cubes with a cut to top 8 on Sunday. Saturday, you can test your mettle in the DMV Legacy League's annual Legacy Open, the Classic. And Sunday, join the NYC Pauper League in Pauper Genesis, the biggest Pauper event in North America to date. And best of all, the event is for charity. Sign up at dmvll.com/BoshNRoll. Save $20 if you sign up for the Classic before June 1st. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in Game 1. Almost living the dream here. I don't have the Smallpox, but we keep hands that can Life from the Loam for 2 on turn 1. Burn Catacombs, Mox Diamond, Fetch Catacombs, get Bayou, Loam back 2 lands, off we go. Juiced up. I could have even entertained playing Rumble there instead of Loam, then the Loam on turn 2 is even better. But I like locking in my profits. Once upon a time. Okay. We're in some sort of green deck mirror. I guess this could just be Eldrazi. Not necessarily a green deck mirror. A Wasteland. Yeah, that card's very bad into an active Life from the Loam. Wow. Alright, deal. I wonder if they have main deck graveyard hate, or they're just so hopeless here that this has to be done. And I'll dredge the Loam, sure. They know I have this. And I'm not going to start fetching basics. I have an active Loam. If they want to Wasteland me, I can do this all day. Okay, literally just conceded. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so the information that changed between their turn 1 Wasteland and their turn 2 concession is I milled over a Wasteland. They probably saw the Wasteland lock coming. This could be Aggro Eldrazi, or it could be Cradle Control with Badgermore Cub and Wastelands. I don't think it's lands in a traditional sense. Versus Cradle Control and Eldrazi, both of those I would want Barrow-Goyf and Toxic Deluge in. Nile Spellbomb has a little bit of text versus Cradle Control, but none versus Eldrazi. I can live without that. WITHERBLOOM Command is kind of a tough one. If they are Cradle Control with a bunch of mana dorks, this card has great targets. If it's Eldrazi, it's basically Chalice of the Void and no other cards. Bowmaster is really good at turning on Hogak, even in a matchup where Bowmaster's not good, which is actually both of the matchups we're describing here. Maybe I do shave a Bowmaster, but you can't cut too many because Hogak is still part of the plan. Grist is kind of a rando. Like, we can't tutor her, we can't recur her. It's just like some amount of games we'll draw it and it'll be okay. And other times it'll just be milled into the graveyard or ignored. But I think I do. This is, whether this is Eldrazi or Cradle Control, or I guess even like something in the Maverick range is live, I would want to draw Grist in any of those matchups. I think I can go -1 Thoughtseize, actually. All of these decks are decks that play to the board. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I've successfully theory crafted a sideboard plan based on seeing Once Upon a Time Wasteland. Hell yeah. The second diamond is not thrilling, but I do like the hatcheries and Baragoyf. If I draw Loam, the second diamond becomes completely bonkers. Crazy how that works when you draw the namesake card of your deck versus when you don't. Is Loam a good card to draw in Loam Pox? What about Pox? Opponent's on 6 cards over there. A forest. Ignoble Hierarch. Okay, looks like the answer is, in fact, Cradle Control. WITHERBLOOM Command would be nuts. It's a shame I boarded one out. I don't think I want Boseiju in my hand here. I'm going to play Hatchery and Diamond, discarding Boseiju. And I'm going to hold up WITHERBLOOM Charm. They frequently have better things to kill than their mana dorks. Like, they follow up with White of the Reliquary. I prefer that dead. A Wasteland. Well, it's not going to be White of the Reliquary. Or it can be, but they tapped green here. This Keen-Eyed Curator. Zenith for 2. Disruptor Flute. Okay, that resolves. Named Mox Diamond. That's not how that works. I mean, this one costs more for me to cast, but my mana still happens. All right, I'm going to destroy this Ignoble Hierarch. I think we may have an opponent who is maybe new to the bigger formats or maybe trying a new deck. Yeah, we got a ... mistake in the chat. Yeah. I mean, they don't know this, but they did lock the second diamond in my hand. This card's a lot worse when it costs 3 mana. And I would have actually liked to jam out a turn 2 Baragoyf right now. All right, Urza Saga. Let's make that happen. Okay, a little underwhelming of a match, but if Pox is doing its job, my opponent actually did just die to Wasteland Lock game 1, even though they didn't want to play it out. I don't blame them for that. I don't know how much this mistake killed them, but obviously it wasn't great. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. There's that Miser's Grist here. I'm going to keep another Diamond Loam opener. And just shouting out real quick, this is the first league I'm recording. It's for me in real life, it's the day after the Oops All Spells nerf. Oh, I don't know that we still need 4 ley lines in the sideboard. I do still like the Spellbomb in the main. We are an Urza Saga deck, but this might be something you can back off of a little bit. I say that as my opponent mulligans to 4. I hope I get a turn. Oh my god. If they don't turn 1 me. Oh my god, really? Oh, Thoughtseize taking my Nile Spellbomb? Are we actually playing a post-Oops universe Oops player? So they could take Mox Diamond to lock me off colors. Nile Spellbomb to make the game playable for them. I respect that. Alright, I'm gonna Wasteland them. Like, them on 2 mana there, that's something I can try to farm. I'll discard Caracas. I think that's the worst land in my hand. And this is a little bit stressful, because if they do find the pieces, they're back in there. Oh, that's going to make it harder to find the pieces. I am going to roll the dice here on developing Loam for one turn rather than Thought Seizing. If I die right now, they got me. But I think within the reasonable range of outcomes here, we did it. I am going to dredge Loam because finding a black source would let me do two things. Didn't find a black source, so I'm just not going to play the Loam. Thought Seize, see what's going on over there. They reanimate, therapy, Dark Ritual. I'm going to take Dark Ritual. That seems like the one that brings them the farthest from doing anything. And I'm going to play Caracas as my land, because if I activate Urza Saga in my main phase and then make a land drop, I think Wasteland is potentially the most useful one. Okay, so Oops All Spells, the day after Undercity Informer got banned, being played by somebody with a Daybreak account, so this is a content creator, and they did Multifor into a non-functional hand, and I imagine having half as many payoffs in your deck is part of that. And good job me not adjusting my deck for the post-oops world. I'll just bring in this pile of ley lines, this pile of Disruptor Flutes, which now we know name Balustrade Spy or Goblin Charbelcher. There's no Undercity Informer to name. The things I don't need: Skateboard, Grist, Witherbloom Command. I don't think that's doing much. I think Needle could still name Charbelcher if they're on that pivot. I do still want my Poxes in, just in case they're on a creature juke, which seems like a natural place to go. I think I can afford to cut a Caracas and a Diamond. Just make my mana a little less robust, because we're not really about robust mana in this matchup. You could cut shave on some Bowmasters too, but if they are on a creature juke, I want to be able to contest the board a little bit. And as always, those are my conversion into Hogak. I will not be keeping this hand. I don't necessarily have to mulligan to Leyline in my deck with Thoughtseize and Isle Spellbomb and stuff. It's just, I'm not going to keep a hand that doesn't do anything. I will keep this one. Ghost Quarter is the same as Wasteland in this deck. It's actually better. Like, if they did sideboard at a basic swap, I could kill that too. I think, or Boseiju is the same as Ghost Quarter, right? But it also hits Belcher. Okay. All right. The Ghost Quarter is gone. Being on the draw here, not ideal. Chrome Mox. Okay. That is a change to the deck, probably to support Beseech the Mirror. Ball Ritual. All right. Turns out I did need the Leyline after all. But now we got to look at this deck and sideboard plan. Active Negations are still in. There's no Charbelchers. It's like Reanimates, Unmarked Grave. Okay, so it's an Entomb Reanimate is their pivot here. Or not pivot, but their redundancy. Yeah, I don't see Beseech the Mirror or Lively Dirge. Yeah, they're on Unmarked Grave Reanimate as their way to around. Okay. What does that change about what I'm doing? Nothing, I don't think. Yeah, all my graveyard hate's in. All my discards in. And it's also possible that after game one where I didn't see anything, they just didn't sideboard at all. And game three, now the Belchers will, or the creatures will come in. That's always a sub game here. Yeah, Dark Ritual, Unmarked Grave Reanimate is aligned to Balustrade Spy. Okay, I just have a good hand here. I am going to keep Leyline of the Void in play. And I can go Bayou, Pithing Needle on Goblin Charbelcher, just in case. That might have done nothing, or I might have completely locked them out of the game on turn one. If they have like the Dark Ritual Barrowgoyf, this game might still be interesting. Thoughtseize is going to take Bowmaster, probably. Lotus Petal, they could reanimate my Bowmaster, that's a game. Midian Hatchery, game on. Okay, now I have a path to impact the board and a path to cast Hogak. Okay, playing lands tapped. Boseiju. Okay. I'll play Bossing Say tapped. I think having Bossing Say in play is better than this Mox Diamond at this point. There's no reason to be card disadvantageous. Do I want to just Boseiju Thelmire right now? I think I do. I'm not bluffing anything, and if they have some important number, if like 3 or 4 is a number of mana that makes them capable of doing something, let's take it away. Sinkhole, instant speed sinkhole in your upkeep. Disruptor Flute. Wow, okay. I don't even know what to name with that, though, because Balustrade Spy doesn't matter. Lotus Petal. Okay, just casting Poxwalkers. I accept. A End Step. Disruptor Flute. I guess I'll name Balustrade Spy, just in case. And now I just need a way for my Eumidian Hatchery to die, and there it is. This is everything right now. Okay. Green, black. You may sacrifice a permanent if you do draw 2 cards. I would like to sacrifice Eumidian Hatchery, which makes a bunch of bugs, which wastelands your land, which casts Hogak. Yeah, they're just scooping to the Gak. There we go. Hey, we beat Oops all spells in the post-Oops world. 100% win rate since the ban. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for round 3 with a hand of all lands. That one's not going to be a keep. Okay. Loam Mox, let's go. Keep this one. And I actually need the second land in my hand to get the Loam thing going. I think it's Hogak to the bottom. I can mill him over, find him later. Basic Island. Okay. Loam and Pox present in my Loam Pox opening hand. That's fun. Force of Negation is a card I specifically don't want to see right now. I will play around Wasteland just in case, like, Days Wasteland could take me out of this game in a spot where I don't need anything to take me out of the game. Okay. I've gotten my initial burst plus reload. This could be a show and tell deck, which might be difficult to overcome depending on what monster they put in and how quickly it happens. Oh no. All right. Never mind. It's Affinity. A bunch of 1/1s are quite good against Smallpox. Second Pinnacle Emissary. This could get ugly. Lotus Petal. Double Trouble. Please don't have the Kappa. Oh no! I was so hyped. Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. As we saw the last 2 rounds of being able to collapse somebody's hyperlinear game plan, this is not that. My opponent has gone super wide here. What can I do? I can Bowmaster to kill a drone token. All right, I'm going to Underground Mortuary. I'll start there. I know this is not a Daze deck now. Wasteland, I'm going to dump that because I could Loam and pick it up if that becomes important to me. And I'll just take out one of the drones now. Without a main deck sweeper, I have Toxic Deluges in the board, but I don't have a way to really catch up to this many drone tokens. If it was 1 Pinnacle Emissary, I might have been able to get where I need to go and then Pox the Kappa. Okay, they have not made an artifact this turn. The Kappa is blockable. It's not often you get to do that. Urza Saga, distressing. All right, I will dredge the Loam now. Wasteland and Hatchery. Waste the Urza Saga. I'm so dead here. In case anyone was wondering. But I am going to try to grind it out. I've been allowed to block Kappa Cannoneer twice. That's exciting. Okay, not dredging Loam. Witherbloom command is going to kill one of the tokens. And is it better for me to mill 3 or to gain 2 life? I'm taking 9 next turn. I would take 8. The clock doesn't change, so I will mill 3 and look for some more action. A Boseiju. I'm not there. It would cost me 6 mana to kill Kappa Cannoneer with Boseiju. I would die with 4 mana or 5 mana in play in the current environment. I guess I'll take Wasteland, though I also... And I definitely am never ever winning this game if they cast another spell. So the Wasteland makes some sense. I don't think I'm winning this game anyway. I could do something like draw a Bowmaster, ping a drone, block Kappa 2 turns in a row, maybe work my way back up, but then I'll be at 1, and it's hard to be at 1 when tapping Humidian Hatchery and casting Smallpox is my game plan. All right, you got me. Okay, Force of Vigor, pretty good here. Toxic Deluge might be necessary. Barrogoyf just to gain some life. Grind back. Grist way too slow here. I don't hate Thoughtseize. Nile Spellbomb. They might have Emeries in their deck. How much am I worried about that? Witherbloom Command can kill a lot of stuff in their deck. Witherbloom Charm. All right, I think I'm going off of Nile Spellbomb. I could go down to 1 Hogak, because it's going to be my job to stop them first and then figure out how I'm going to win. I think I can shave 1 diamond. It's just a bad top deck that you don't want 2 of. Witherbloom Command. I might have to shave some of that. I don't know if they're a Thoughtcast build or not. A lot of these decks don't actually draw extra cards, but some of them do, especially with Krang or Kang. Is it Krang? I don't remember it's Krang or Kang, the Ninja Turtle villain. That is a guy that some of these are using at the top end. All right, I think I can go -1 Bowmaster. And I think I'm going to shave Skateboard too. This makes my Urza Saga tutor package really soft, but I don't think that's where the game is going to be won or lost. All right, I love a turn 1 Thoughtseize. I'll keep. Sometimes they have to keep hands that are just fully hinged on warping Pinnacle Emissary turn 1 to get material onto the board, and if I can strip that away, then I could play. Oh, they got a whole second mode of the deck. Didn't even see all that. Okay, so there's Goblin Welder. This Pinnacle Emissary is not actually very good right now. I'm going to take Goblin Welder. Getting through 2 of those. And I've just boarded out my Nile Spellbomb. I think my Pithing Needle's still in. Yes, okay, I still have Pithing Needle. Oh, that's such a fucked up draw. I took the Welder based on them not actually being able to cast Pinnacle Emissary unless they use their Lotus Petal first, and they just fully converted on me here. This immediately turns on the Opal, which can play the Welder. All right, well, I can kill Welder, which is why I took the first one. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Now I have to decide if I want to Needle Welder and just be done with that. Or I could blow up Goblin Welder with Witherbloom Charm and then Pithing Needle Urza's Saga, which also turns off my Urza's Saga, but their saga is better than mine. The other option is Needle the Welder and then use Witherbloom Charm to try to get ahead of the Urza Saga game, and I don't think I'm winning that game. I am going to destroy target Goblin Welder. If the Needle was in my opening hand, I would have Thoughtseized the Pinnacle Emissary and then Needled the 2 Welders and just been done with that. But unfortunately it was not, and now I'm going to have to beat a resolved Pinnacle Emissary out of Warp. We're just a Toxic Deluge away. Barrogoyf could be enough to stabilize. Yeah, I wouldn't have cut Nile Spellbomb or Witherbloom Command if I knew that they also had this Welder side of the deck. Very sneaky. It might even be a sideboard juke. I don't know. It's more likely they just didn't need it game 1, so they didn't show it to me. Smallpox. That card is pretty messy, actually. But I think... All right, so I'm going to Pithing Needle Urza's Saga. That's happening. Urza's Saga. If I Pox, I discard the Catacombs. All right. I am going to Smallpox. Just trying to squeeze them wherever I can. Discarded the Sewer. I wonder if I could have gotten more action there if I had held the Needle in my hand. Like, could I have tricked them into sacking Volcanic Island? I think I could have. Yeah, that might have been a sequencing bleed. Oh no, don't have more things. A good thing, too. All right. I am basically dead. Versus Saga. A Life from the Loam, target my lands. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, even hitting, like, there's no hit anymore. If I find Toxic Deluge, I'll be at 2, which means I can't Deluge for 3. And if I find Barrogoyf, I'll be at 2, which means they have exactly 2 that can fly over top of it. Yeah, I needed that second Pinnacle Emissary to not convert into a real card. All right, got me. I imagine that matchup is just heinous in general. And certainly with a fully unknown secondary plan that I sideboarded poorly against was extra stress on the sideboard games. A stern beating. On to the next round. July 24th through 26th, Excalibur Events will be running one of their 3-day weekends in Columbus, Ohio. This event will feature a CEDH 25K, Riftbound tournaments, sorcery tournaments, and Magic side events, including on Sunday a pre-modern 5K, which I will be attending and participating in. If you want to come compete, sign up in the link in the video description and use code KOVAL for $5 off entry. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 4 with a hand that is super mid. In a slow matchup, this hand is actually fine. I'll try it. Because I have Hatchery and out 2 Hatchery. Oh, good. It would be a nice time to find some Wastelands or Poxes or something to get them under control. We're playing against the Tron deck. The bad news is this is not a slow matchup. The good news is I have a lot of natural tools in my deck that are good against what they're doing. But the second round of bad news is that I don't have any of those cards currently. All right, I'll try to find one now. Rumble, Beseju. I guess I have to take that one. That's the one that might do anything here. Something's happening in my end step. Are they going to Kozilek's command? Make a friend, draw a card? Yep, make a friend, draw a card. There's a lot of mana all of a sudden. That's kind of their thing. There's the One Ring. All right. All right. I said in my fan reaction video that the One Ring, I think, is right behind Tamio as my most bannable legacy card that people can still play with. And just like the type of game where if this was Karn, that would be challenging. But I could like Beseju what Karn tutors for, maybe Bowmaster pressures Karn in combat. That's something. But instead we just kind of are just going to die to this thing. So what can I do here? I think I have to just go full aggro, which means play the Bowmaster and hope that they don't draw an answer as they die to their own ring. And then I'll end step sacrifice Eumidian Hatchery to Witherbloom command and try to smoke them. I will put 1 damage on an Eldrazi spawn. Oh wow, they didn't float in response. That's lucky. Got away with that one completely. I just didn't want that blocker in the way if my plan is to try to overwhelm them. Like if their hand right now is just 8 lands or something, that's good news. If they have Karn, I actually can push into that because I'm on board. If they have Ugin, I'm in a lot of trouble. Okay, there's Karn. 3, 6, 7 mana left. 5 cards in hand. Ensnaring Bridge are not going to go very far here. They also don't know I can create a burst of another 3 1/1s on the board at instant speed. Cityscape Leveler. They're a mana short of that guy right now. End of turn. Going full aggro. Sacrifice a permanent to draw 2 cards. The Hatchery. Make 3 bugs. I found a Loam. Can I find a Wasteland to go with it? Challenge level impossible. Okay, I can kill Karn and put damage on my opponent here. I don't think the Smallpox is going to go very far, and I definitely want to do that after Cityscape Leveler resolves. Okay, I'm going to play Urza Saga. Attack opponent, and then I'll attack Karn with these guys. Something's happening for 7 right now. This is a Kozilek's command. They could exile one of my bugs to keep Karn alive, but at 1. Exiling Bowmaster. Okay, so they're going to take 0 damage here. But Karn will die. That's why I attacked the way that I did. And Smallpoxing here does not make a lot of sense to me. Does Spellbombing make any sense? And that at least draws a card. Okay. Yeah, finding a Wasteland there to flip the Nexus and maybe their hand's a little worse. That's something I could have gotten into. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with the One Ring. I mean, not that the One Ring play pattern needs to be fully explored, 2 years after it's been printed and banned in Modern. But I actually did a good job, like quickly dispatching the Karn. I'm not even that worried about Cityscape Leveler, but this One Ring just drawing this many cards in a game. Sure, good job. you just happen to have that card in your hand on the turn where you had 4 mana, and now the game is over. Good play pattern. I'm looking forward to the sideboard game where I get to keep a hand with Wasteland in it on purpose. They're spending a lot of mana on something here. 12 in the pool. Monolith. That could be 13. 14. Are they going to get to Emrakul here? This looks like an X spell. You're going to Kozilek's Command for 10, or for 12. Yeah, all right. Scry X, make 12 homies. Just finding a Candelabra here unlocks their whole hand. Because Candelabra, with the help of the spawns, can untap all of these lands, and then they're just casting the other 12 cards they've got left over. Scryed 4 to the top, 8 to the bottom. The replacement One Ring. Yeah, sure. Another shining example of why the One Ring is a wonderful card. All right, now I'm good. I'm good. I've seen enough. I promise this isn't going to be like a thing where I'm just raging anytime anyone casts the One Ring. I'm just, because it's so fresh for me after the ban update, and we're talking about legacy health, and this colorless Tron deck was pointed at as having an inappropriate win rate in the ban announcement, but they wanted to give time for the metagame to adjust to it. I just want to talk through it while we're here. Okay, Nile Spellbomb out, Grist out. I need to deny their mana. Barrogoyf could hit, but I'm not really trying to hit. I think I can shave a diamond because they're a Karn deck. The skateboard actually might matter in this matchup. Giving haste to a construct could change the clock in a way that matters. Okay, the Disruptor Flutes can name Karn, they can name the One Ring, they can name Candelabra. Those are all slam dunks. Force of Vigor should probably be in, but finding more cuts from here might actually be challenging. Witherbloom Command blowing up keys, candles, and monoliths, and Disruptor Flutes, that's a lot. Caracas, I think I can shave. Any of the legends that they have in their deck, like an Emrakul or an Ulamog, I'm not trying to bounce those. If they're in play, they're either going to be answered by Smallpox or they're going to kill me, and that's the end of the story. I could shave a Hogak to get another Force of Vigor in, and I think I should. I think I should be focused on not dying before I'm worried about winning. Okay, Loam Wasteland here, present. I'll keep. They are a deck with a bunch of ways to turn off Wasteland, but most of those ways cost mana. Therefore, I'm just going to put Wasteland in play. So if they do go just like land Pithing Needle, I at least get one Wasteland off in between. And I'm working my way to this Force of Vigor. Ooh, all right. That one doesn't even get a mana. Just take it. Forest. Fetch for Bayou. Life from the Loam. If they have a Surgical Extraction on Wasteland here, that would be really good. Now if they have a Pithing Needle on Wasteland, that would be really good. But if not, they're in the lock. And I don't have a green card for Force of Vigor. Okay, this is free. Like, you pay it, then you untap Ancient Tomb, then you just still have Ancient Tomb up. Yeah, there's that. Okay, so I'm probably going to Disruptor Flute Candelabra this turn while I work my way up to Force of Vigor. If I draw a green card, I can just, or I could dredge Loam and guarantee have a green card, but pitching Loam might not actually solve my problems. Oh, that's interesting. Would I rather Wasteland them now? How many green cards are in my deck? 2, 6, 9, 12, 13. Oh, it's very few, actually. All right, I am going to dredge the Loam. I want to give myself the option. Another Wasteland in the bin. Yeah, I think I'm going to Disruptor Flute, naming Candelabra right now. And then I'll set up Fetch Surveil. Yeah, if this Loam had milled another Loam, that's a path to me being comfortable pitching the first one. Okay, kind of looking for any green card here. Not Mox Diamond. Okay, draw for turn. Looting in my upkeep. All right, resolves. Gonna name Life from the Loam on this one, maybe. Make it harder for me to do that. Yep, that's fair. Committee Hatchery. Okay. So my options here, I mean, it's basically just cast Force of Vigor. Oh, I actually should have put Wasteland into play. That was a mistake, because I can Loam next turn, waste them twice if I do it that way. Oh, okay, they're just flailing anyway. Big money. Hit these 2 flutes with a hard cast force. Please don't have another flute. Wasteland, take out Ancient Tomb. Life from the Loam, target Wasteland, Verdant Catacombs. Yeah, they didn't have the Kozilek's command to exile anything there. Getting them in the lock is the way, and how good Force of Vigor was, how clutch that was, that pretty clearly I should just have all of those in, actually. So, Witherbloom Charm and Witherbloom Command, I have so many answers to a Disruptor Flute. Is that worth shaving a threat for? Yeah, I think it's fine. Let's go. A Wasteland Thoughtseize. No Loam yet, but there is a Pox. This one has to be good enough. I'm going to hold on to it. Leyline of the Void, sure. That stops me dredging. Okay, I think Thoughtseize is a better open than Wasteland here with that Monolith. A Bayou, Thoughtseize. Yep, one spell in the hand and a bunch of lands. Other mana's going to be hard to contain. Versus Saga. This would be a huge turn to draw Force of Vigor. Disruptor Flute, what a draw. Okay. Played around Force of Vigor by doing it in my upkeep. That was clever. Though that doesn't actually do anything. Alright, I'll flute you right back. I guess I will invest the Wasteland, and then I'll Disruptor Flute naming Urza Saga, which once again is annoying and awkward because that's a card in my deck, but they're using it better than me right now. I'm quitting Magic. It's over. Okay, so top deck Disruptor Flute, which turned off my Wasteland into top deck the One Ring, which I only don't have Flute ready to turn off One Ring because they fluted my Wasteland and messed up my Urza Saga with it. Cool. Cool. Ghost Quarter. That one still works. Though it doesn't matter. Yeah, they might go get a key here. So I probably should actually Ghost Quarter the Urza Saga. And we're once again all in on Bowmaster trying to do anything here. Bowmaster, we're in there. Do your damage, big fella. Yeah, there was a response to my BNR reaction video where I said, the One Ring. I said what I say about the One Ring. And somebody replied that Karn is the problem, not the One Ring in these decks because it's a one-card win condition. And to me, that kind of just shows lack of understanding about how Magic works or how games of Magic are played. If you don't think drawing half of your deck over the course of 2 or 3 turns while being incapable of taking damage is a win con, and you think a Planeswalker that air quotes wins the game for 10 mana, but is susceptible to artifact removal or all these other things is somehow more bad than this, I don't know how to explain that to you. They untapped all the lands. They don't take damage from Ancient Tomb this turn because they have protection from it. Okay, there's Karn. Ensnaring Bridge is functional here, if they have one of those. And it's a little bit functional. It keeps Karn from dying, but the Bowmaster could still put it down to 2, which means it has to spend a turn doing anything. Okay, Cityscape Leveler it is. And I can't Thoughtseize my opponent, even if I draw one. Okay, attack Karn with both of these, just in case there is a Kozilek's command in the mix over there. I guess I should Malevolent Rumble. I have the Out of Pithing Needle I could hit here. Alright, hit a bunch of Garbo. I'll take the Swamp. I mean, normally, Malevolent Rumble into Life from the Loam is exactly what we want in life, but we're not living that life today. Another Rumble. Yeah, I guess there are permanents in my deck I would like to see. The opponent goes to 11. These workshops tap for 2, but we know there's a tower in hand. They can tap for 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. Blow up Bowmaster, start drawing cards. Okay. Planar Nexus is the same thing as Urza's Tower on this board, but it makes Urza's Tower better next turn. Yep. Okay, Bowmaster's dead. I get a Power Stone, which my deck has some ways to use, but one of them is turned off by my own card. A number of the things I'm trying to Malevolent Rumble into are artifacts too, so the Power Stone does play here. Like, I guess my plan is Rumble, hit a Pithing Needle effect to turn off the One Ring, Smallpox to kill Cityscape Leveler, attack for 4. Hope that's good enough. Another Flute. What's this one naming? Force of Vigor. Alright, just checking off my perceived outs. Okay, so Rumble. I think I can play my land first and still do everything I want to do. Forest. Cast Rumble. Orcish Bowmaster. That's another one of those. That's a way to push damage. Okay. I will keep Orcish Bowmaster. That's not the smooth out I was looking for, but it works. Smallpox. I'll discard Urza's Saga, sacrifice an Eldrazi Spawn, and I think I can sacrifice Wasteland here. They have sufficiently squeezed my outs to that. Okay, opponent goes to 6. Their ring puts them to 4. I'm holding another Bowmaster. Shame I didn't have one more black here. They could be at 2 right now and unable to tap the ring. They do have the Cityscape Leveler that can show up. That can destroy my Orc army. Saga. Well, now it could blow up my Disruptor Flute and unlock their Saga if they're interested in that. All right, yeah, just the 3rd copy of the One Ring. Healthy stuff. Nice card. Well designed. They're making a ton of mana. They are unearthing the Leveler. Probably going to blow up my Flute. Because if they could start making constructs, especially making several per turn with Candelabra, that'll overcome my Orc army pretty easily. Yep, there's that. I'll take 8. Having a spawn around is worth something to me. Okay. You're at 4. Attack for 4. Oh, wait, I can't because you played 3 copies of the One Ring. Okay, and I'm a mana short, or 2 mana short of playing this Force of Vigor, which would answer the Urza Saga and the Candelabra and make them play Magic with me. But they're not going to do that. There's the tower we saw from the turn 1 Thoughtseize. On turn 7, finally the land is played. All right, all I can do here is play out my Bowmaster and hope we limp over this finish line. Whether they want to draw 1 card with the ring while it doesn't cost them the extra life here, or whether they think they can win with what they have, is an interesting decision. Or are they going to Kozilek's Command to draw a bunch of cards in response? Okay, Construct, another Construct, and another spell. Are they going to Kozilek's Command for 18 right now? Just make 18 blockers, scry 18. Holy moly. Yeah, I don't know how I can ever beat 15 blockers. Even the idea of getting to a spot where Force of Vigor could clear some of the constructs for a sneaky little attack. If my opponent gets sloppy, like that is now completely gone. I do not have Toxic Deluge in my deck. I shouldn't, and I don't. And it's also not a very good out here, because it also kills all my stuff. I have Witherbloom Command that can deal 2 to the face, but my opponent will be at 3. Okay. Did not activate the ring. Scried 4 to the top, 11 to the bottom. And Wasteland. Okay. Yep, I mean, we saw what happened that game. We had pretty cool first couple turns. It was like Thoughtseize you, take your action, you have some counterplay, I have some counterplay, but then the One Ring was the next draw and the game just ended on turn 3, even though it is turn 7 and it looks like we're still playing Magic. We're actually not. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I am on the play in the final round, positive record on the line. Gonna have to mulligan this one. Just doesn't really do anything. Ugh. Here we are again. Mox Diamond is so good when you have lands to use it, and it's so poor when you don't. I could keep this on the strength of Thoughtseize, bottom Mox Diamond. There are 25 lands in my deck and 54 cards to draw from. It's like a weighted coin flip against. Unfortunately, Wasteland's in the format, so I have to mulligan. Okay, I will keep this one. Just gotta, at some point, accept where you are in life. I'll put Hogak, and Spellbomb versus Bowmaster is actually interesting. Bowmaster is a better card on its own, but Spellbomb could buy me time in cheese matchups, which is what I need time against here. I guess I could also bottom this Witherbloom Charm. All right, it's actually Charm. All right, here we go. I hope you're on Oops All Spells and you just lost. They do have a 61 card deck. Funny enough. Okay, it's lands. Exploration. I mean, this is a matchup where Nile Spellbomb has some text. Maybe. Level and Rumble. All right. Gotta send that one. And I do want to pay life with Hatchery, even though I don't technically have to. I'll grab a Ghost Quarter here. Let's see how quick I die. Lands versus Pox is actually really interesting because we have a lot of the same stuff going on. The Loams, the Mox Diamonds, the Sagas. But we grind in different ways and we want different things to happen. Like they have a combo kill and I don't, but I have better... Like I'm a better deck if I don't have an engine running than them. Because I can just do stuff like play Orcish Bowmaster and attack while they don't really do anything if their engines aren't running. Thespian Stage. Ancient Tomb. Okay, so I lose to Crop Rotation here. Smallpox. Interesting. Okay. Ghost Quarter. I would love to blow up this Urza Saga and get Ghost Quarter back in my hand. I think I'm going to do this and let them copy. I don't really want them tutoring. And if they do commit to copying this, that's maybe a sign that they're not sprinting towards Dark Depths. And if they are sprinting towards Dark Depths, Smallpox can help with that. And if they just crop rotate now and end step it, it doesn't matter. Okay, they're making a construct, tapping the stage to do it. So they're not planning on copying stage. This is going to be a Merrill Age game. Play from the Loam, target my things. It's kind of cheating that they get to play 2 lands per turn when I only get 1, while otherwise we have the same stuff going on. Okay, they can't end step crop rotate anymore. They're going to have to expedition map and find it on the slow. This construct token is actually interesting because it is a 1/1, which I could kill with Orcish Bowmaster, but it does insulate versus the Pox right now. And they have to main phase this because they know I have Ghost Quarter in my hand. Another insulation. All right, that stinks. Oh god, both of my basics are in my hand. If they take this Ghost Quarter, I'm going to be so bummed out. They did take Ghost Quarter. Please don't use it. There's Ghost Quarter. Attacking for 1. Might as well get your point. Not interacting with that. Okay, I am not going to dredge Loam right here. I need 3 black to do everything I want to do in a turn. The Dark Depths is in play. Fuck. Yeah, the Ghost Quarter forces the action on my Ghost Quarter. But then I guess what I would do is Ghost Quarter Eumidian Hatchery, but I still lose a freaking land because I just randomly have my basics in my hand. Oh, I hate Magic so much. Okay, so I guess what I'm going to do here is play out the Ghost Quarter. Because that's also my only way to blow up my Eumidian Hatchery. Okay. Pass the turn. So frustrating. We'll see if I can figure it out. But it is a frustrating situation. Oh, you have Beseiju. Okay. Well, that works too. All right. I'm going to Ghost Quarter my Eumidian Hatchery to make some blockers. There are no basic lands available. And I'll Bowmaster to blow up this construct before they come up with another artifact somewhere. Okay, off we go. Got a Chump Barrel Age 4 times. If they have a Sajiri step, they can win right away. They don't always have that card in their deck, and they also don't always have access to that card if they do have it in their deck. But they also just saw me fail to find off my own Ghost Quarter. They could rip off their Ghost Quarter on this Beseiju and just leave me with no mana. Maze of Ith. All right, here it comes. The first of 5 attacks before I die. Second exploration. They do get 1 shot with a Loam, if they have a Loam. I think in this case, I would Nile Spellbomb in response to Loam. The decision whether you want to take out the Loam forever or stop the Loam from drawing 3 cards in the first place. Yeah, Good read. Good read. Though I am glad that was spent because I need to develop black mana to make this game work. And now I have a swamp in play. Right, I can get a few attacks in here. Gotta win this game somehow. Them blocking with spawn would be the best thing I can imagine. Though I can use WITHERBLOOM command to kill spawn next turn. Like I do have a face-up way to get this Merit Lage done in the necessary time to get it done. Assuming they draw nothing, do nothing, don't push through my insects in any meaningful capacity. And I will definitely respond to Loam with Spellbomb if they cast Loam. I can't afford for the specific lands they have to come back even once, especially with 3 explorations in play right now. A block. Maze of Ith, untapping your Merit Lage. Yep, that is a better way to do the same thing. No! Come on! Fuck. That now creates additional edict proof dudes every turn. Okay, what do I do now? How do I deal with Merit Lage? There's a Caracas somewhere in my deck. That's what I have to be playing towards now. Okay, WITHERBLOOM command. I'm definitely milling 3 and returning a land. Do I care about this spawn anymore? Draining them for 2 life doesn't matter. Destroying one of their explorations probably doesn't matter. I might as well take out the spawn, I guess. The other modes just don't matter. Alright, show me that Caracas. Ghost Quarter versus Boseiju here versus Black Source for Smallpox. I'm taking the Ghost Quarter. And I'll pass the turn. Yeah, I guess now I should just be aggressively dredging Loam, because we've identified Caracas as the out. Okay, block. I also have to imagine there's a skateboard in their Urza Saga package, which means I'm actually dead next turn if I don't deal with this somehow. Okay, dredging Loam. Hit Wasteland. Ghost Quarter. GQ the Saga. Do it right now. Copying the Saga. And making the Construct. And they appear to only have 1 basic forest. They life from the Loam, return Eumidian Hatchery, Wasteland, and do I want a second Eumidian Hatchery? Is this actually a path through at all? Just take another Ghost Quarter. Alright. Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, Eumidian Hatchery to my hand. Right. It will take them a turn before this Urza Saga can make constructs. I think I'm just gated on black mana, even if I find everything else I want here. Like, answering that construct will not be trivial. Once upon a time, that's a lot of looks at Sajiri Step, Thespian Stage. Okay, my last blocker. Okay, big money, Dredge Loam, hit Caracas. Otherwise, the plan is Eumidian Hatchery, cast Smallpox, destroy Construct Token, make 1 blocker. Hogak. Interesting. Okay. That gives me more than 1 thing I can do now. It's still not great. Okay. Eumidian Hatchery. Hogak. Black. Black. I think I'm going to sack the Orc Army to Smallpox here. I still believe the spawn might help one day. It might even help right now if I can cast Loam on the same turn. Yeah, the only stuff in my graveyard that matters is lands. I don't have ways to recur anything else. So here's Hogak. At least something fun to do on the way to my death. And Smallpox. Yeah, this entire game has been defined by being down exactly 1 mana on a few critical turns, and that was literally just RNGing my 2 basic lands right before I got Ghost Quartered. Especially if my Swamp was still on the deck, I think I would have shut this game down like 6 turns ago. Yeah, I will discard Urza Saga, sacrifice Orc Army, sacrifice Eumidian Hatchery. Oh wait, if I had bought back Boseiju last turn, did I fuck this up? Could I have Boseiju'd the construct? I have exactly enough mana to activate Boseiju. I might have fucked this up. I might just be completely out of my mind here, talking about anything other than how... Wow, okay. Yeah, I think I did. Even after all that, I think I still had a route to clear it right now. Dang. Anyone who saw that was very smart. Smarter than me. I think I was so tunnel visioned on the Caracas that I just kind of didn't realize I had this whole other line available. Tough. Okay. It's a good game. It's a good game. And now they have double Urza Saga going, and this Urza Saga can become a basic forest, which means I can't wasteland it anymore. So they have the... I do have Ghost Quarter, though. So if Merit Lage could be cleared, this game might still be winnable, even through the Infinite Urza Saga. Oh, that's a tough beat. Seeing the line after it's too late to do anything about it. I even thought about, like, do I just pick up Beseiju? I didn't see the line, but I still almost found it correctly. Play from the Loam. No, absolutely not. This Loam is going to start dredging in the near future, but you can't just have Merit Lage every turn. Merit Lage. Block for the last time. If I draw another Smallpox now, if I take a random draw and it's Smallpox, Hogak is a legend. I can't Beseiju my own stuff, so there's no line to Eumidian Hatchery here. So now I have to decide 3 looks at 1 Caracas as an out, or 1 look at 3 Smallpoxes as an out. Because that's just the same. I'm not very good at math. Okay, I tried to do some fast math on my other monitor real quick, and I think it is slightly better to take the 3 out of 38 rather than the 1 out of 38 with 3 successes. And by slightly, I mean like 0.2%. Whatever, I'll take it. Dredgeloid from the Loam. Caracas. Oh, no! It was Smallpox. It was there. It was there! Oh, man. What a battle. Never trust the math. Only vibes. Okay. Disruptor Flute. Force of Vigor. I like these cards. I don't actually like Leyline of the Void, but I do like them not having a graveyard. How do we balance that? Bowmaster, not very good. Thoughtseize, not very good. Thoughtseize is only actually good against lands on turn 1, maybe 2. But once they have their explorations in play, it's really only Crop Rotation is the card that they could have that you could care about. Grist does not do very much in this matchup either. That might just want to be Barrogoyf if I want to bring the ruckus against them. I don't even really hate Smallpox. That was my out that game. I just didn't see the sequence to it. Yeah, it was a combination of tunnel visioning on the Caracas and thinking my only removal spell was a black card. So I didn't even think about how much green and colorless mana I had available for me on the turn before when I was setting up the Loam. It might be a Hogak that gets cut, but actually hitting them for 8 seems pretty exciting. But I really like every other card I'm playing. I don't like the Bowmaster, but they are part of the Hogak package. So, like, can I play Hogak with 1 Bowmaster in my deck? I guess is the question. I would be relying on Eumidian Hatchery to do this. And if Hogak is going to be a slow play anyway, then do I just want access to 1 instead of 2? Yeah, I think I will try it like this. Okay, well, that's why you leave 1 Hogak in your deck so you draw it immediately. I will keep this hand. This is an accelerated Urza Saga with Wasteland backing it up. I don't have the Loam yet, but I get 4 looks at it right now. I think I discard Hatchery here because my colors might be important. This line gets so cooked by Force of Vigor. You can play around Force of Vigor at least enough to actually play Magic by playing the Saga first. If you play the Diamond first, then they hit both in response to that trigger. You are dead and you deserve it. Yeah, I could just replace the Hatchery I discarded to cast this card, or I could grab a Flute. I think I want to be playing some music here. I didn't get my Vigor forced. Yavimaya. Exploration. Wasteland. Bummer. Okay, that's gone. Verdant Catacombs. I think I'm just going to hold up this Disruptor Flute to name Thespian Stage with, most likely. If my opponent plays the Saga, I have Wasteland for that. That's fine. Okay, this can resolve. Beseiju and Yavimaya are the options here. I imagine they'll want Beseiju. Yep. There's Thespian Stage. That is the card I was planning on naming, so I will. Thespian Stage is turned off. Ooh, Caracas. Like that. Waste this Urza Saga immediately. And pass the turn. The first person to find a life from Loam is going to be way ahead here. Otawara. Okay, we're blue lands. fun. I'm going to get my Mortuary here. This is 2 looks at Loam. Not taking a Bayou. Another Verdant Catacombs. We're almost out of fetchables here. And this Hogak. Not interested in joining the game because I boarded out my Bowmasters. Endurance, sure. My graveyard is deleted. Wasteland, that works. I'm pretty bummed out that they wastelanded that particular land after Endurancing me. That is what I'd like to fetch right now. Okay, so all the cards from Endurance just went to the bottom of the deck, and that was like 10 or so cards that are not Life from the Loam, which means I'm not going to fetch. Ghost Quarter sitting in play. Endurance comes in again. My opponent is ahead here. Neither of us are really doing what we want to do, but opponent has a 3/4. The Smallpox doesn't help because the Malevolent Rumbles. It's a tool in my deck to insulate my good creatures by giving me a spawn to sacrifice, but my opponent also has that card. Soul Guide Lantern, okay. Donking my Mortuary. That one's not coming back. That's also further solidifying their slightly ahead position. Suddenly, I'm slightly ahead. We know they have Boseiju. They could just blow up this Urza Saga if they want to. But I gotta try. Endurance continuing to take chunks out of me. Are they gonna let me get a counter on this? Moment of truth. Boseiju or not? I just found a path to Hogak as well. Okay. Eumidian Hatchery's in play. At 7 life, mildly concerning. If they jam out a second Endurance here, that would be pretty strong. And they haven't played a land since turn 3, which, or I guess there are a couple in the graveyard that went there somehow, so we know their hand is reactive stuff. Okay, blowing up my Disruptor Flute. They might try to copy my Urza Saga with their stage, but I still have Ghost Quarter up as a second layer of defense there. Played a second Boseiju from hand. Opponent's got big plans over there. Ice Till Explorer, holy moly, that card is not going to be beatable. What the fuck? All right. Is this going to be a barrage of wastelands until I die? They've got 2 more land drops to make this turn. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, that one. That's a banger. Certified banger. All right, well, I'll make a construct while I still can. Playing Saga. Yeah, Ice Till Explorer explains maybe why they haven't really played Magic in a while. Okay, I'll block with my Spawn. At 7 life, gotta start taking game actions. Okay, I'm at 6. I don't think I can afford the life to fetch at this point. A Wasteland. Boy, it would be nice if my opponent couldn't play 3 lands out of their graveyard every turn. Yeah, this is literally unbeatable. I'm just in a extreme Wasteland lock. I can't develop this Hogak. They have too much material to Smallpox them. GG. So I missed the line in game 1 to sneak away with it, and then they just got me game 2. There's Loam Pox. The WITHERBLOOM Charm, as far as the new cards go, WITHERBLOOM Charm was pretty nice. Unfortunately, Bossing Say, it was in play once, but it never activated. It just didn't come up, but I imagine if you play 10 or 15 matches, you'll see it shine. Hogak, actually, in small sample size here, but he only showed up once, and it was in a game where he didn't matter. And that last game we were just playing, he was in my opening hand, and I died with him still in my hand in a game that was otherwise close for a lot of turns. And that is part of my sideboarding plan. I identified that I would cut half of my enablers for Hogak, but I also cut half my Hogaks, and I just drew them in the wrong order. If I had a Bowmaster, or if I had a Eumidian Hatchery a little earlier, the Hogak would have smashed that game to pieces. So hard to blame him for that, but we have to think about both the floor and the ceiling, and the floor is a completely dead card in your hand, versus the ceiling is you have an 8/8 on turn 2 or 3. I think if it were me, I would probably change the second Hogak to the 4th Loam. Like, I understand wanting to min-max where it's like, you don't actually need 2 Loams in a game, and you have a bunch of mill to help finding them, but having versus not having Loam in the Loam Pox deck is so just everything. Like the games where it's like fetch, play Mox Diamond, draw 2 cards, have an engine online immediately on turn 1, versus the games where it's like fetch, Mox Diamond, Rumble, now I have 4 cards in my hand, go. It's just night and day. And I think maximizing for having your Loam versus min-maxing for the fringe cases, I just think that's going to be better, especially in a format with a bunch of main deck Urza Sagas where cards like Soul Guide Lantern and Nile Spellbomb will just be in decks. If your opponent has a Lion Sash or a Keen Eye Curator in a Recruiter or Zenith package and they could clip one Loam but not two, or you actually do need the second one, it could matter a lot. Also can't help but notice that there is no Shieldred's Edict or Fatal Push in this deck, and that is what these 6 Witherbloom things are trying to create. Like Witherbloom Charm, destroy target permanent with mana value 2 or less. That covers about half of what Fatal Push would cover, but for twice as much mana, but you also get 3 times as many options of what to do with the card. Witherbloom Command, it's a 2-for-1, but it misses some stuff, and there might be just a better or more well-rounded spread of stuff. Also Grist. It's a 3-mana sorcery, untutorable. We don't have ways to recur it. And for it to be a removal spell, you have to have a creature to sacrifice, which this deck isn't great at doing. Like maybe you have a Rumble Spawn laying around, or an Orc Army from an earlier exchange, but like we don't even have a Dryad Arbor we could pull up. Not that I think you should. Dryad Arbor and Smallpox are not friends, because Smallpox makes you sacrifice a creature before you sacrifice a land, which means if you have Dryad Arbor and one other land, you're losing them both. You can't pick Dryad Arbor for both. Maybe the Grist should just be like Shieldred's Edict. Maybe 1 Grist, 1 Witherbloom command can be 2 Shieldred's Edicts, and then we have a responsible spread of interaction for things like Murktide Region and Merit Lage, Pinnacle Emissary, just a bunch of cards that this deck's not actually that good at answering right now. And we get to retool the sideboard. I don't think you need 4 Leylines anymore. We did play against Oops, and we did beat Oops, partially thanks to Leyline, but that doesn't mean it's right to have it in the deck. This could be some Surgical, some extra Nile Spellbomb, some Fairy Macabres. You don't have to play 4 of the same card, and you don't have to play 4 total of this anyway. You could play 2 if you think that's the right number, or 3, or 1, or 0. It's up to you, but we could get away from something as clunky as Leyline of the Void, which did come up in my lands matchup. I did not bring in my Leyline, but I would have brought in something like a Surgical. Yeah, that's just exciting, brand new tech. This deck was built before the Oops nerf, and now that's something we can go back and look at. But I do always love playing Loam Pox. Andy, thanks for sending it in. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.